Hello and welcome back to another episode of Scriptcase by Jamie. And you can probably guess what today's episode is about because, of course, I have, well, the form up on the window. And in this video, I really just want to go over the initial stages maybe of your database design so that you can take the time and just, know how best maybe to plan your database. Of course, as I've mentioned in many videos, the database is the core of your project. It is the most important part of your project. What you develop in Scriptcase is only so important, because if your database sucks, well, sorry, but so will your platform. It's just how it is. And I'm sorry for saying that, but it really is true. You want to make sure, first of all, you have some fundamentals down. So let's just start here. We have here a little table, and this is how I would generally just throw it together, since I have my Remarkable back, of course. And so I would add a title, first of all. So I'll say my DB, my database, or whatever it's going to be called. And with that, I would more than likely also change the pen type to something nice and thin. And that way, it's not going to get in the way. Now, you may have seen my Remarkable video already. I hope you have done, because really this is an awesome tool. And as you see, I'm going to be using it every so often in some of the videos now because I have my baby back. Okay, so with the first table, I would say maybe this would be the clients. Okay, so I can add in here the clients. Okay, and then with the clients, we first of all want the ID. So we're going to say ID, and of course we can extend on that later on. We don't have to define, all of those specifications that we need for our actual design, such as lowercase, underscores. You don't have to worry about that now. We're just planning it out a little bit. So we're going to have an ID for our client. We're going to have a name, and then we're going to have some more data, whatever we need for that client table. At the same time, we may be thinking that our clients, well, they're also related to our companies. Now we have multiple choices there. We could add, the company data within the client table, but maybe it makes better sense to actually have a company table, right? And then a separate table that links your company clients. So there you say company and your clients. So here you would then associate, of course, your client and your company. And within the company table, here again, you have the ID, your company name, and all of those other fields that you are going to have in there. So now at this point, you may be wondering, well, why have I gone and created another table? Because this is what relational databases are all about. So instead of having all of the data compacted into one or two tables, we can split it up and actually, maybe secure that data a little more, and at the same time provide it another table where we can actually use it for other settings maybe, or other references. So in this case, I would just go ahead and add a link between the company and here the client. I would do the same so that I know that this is then the relationship between those tables. And of course, you could just do it simpler and say, well, that goes to that table, that goes to that table. And as I said, later on, apply those actual relationships. Now, one of the great things here, we can just go back and we can just do that again. Look, so I'll just go company, goes to this table, and then clients also goes to this table. And then, of course, we would apply that here to the client ID, maybe client ID, and the company ID. Now that is a TD, actually there. My writing is worse than the doctor's writing. Okay, so there we go. Now, of course, when it then also comes to other tables, for instance, we could say, well, clients have gone ahead and purchased some products. So say we have our products table, and then here again, we have our ID, our product name, whatever that be, And of course, we would maybe want to specify that it is product name, not just name. And the same here, client name, company name, so that we always know that name is for the company, not for the client or Tom, Dick, and Harry. Okay, so with the products, we can then also create a separate table again, and we can say here, company products maybe. Okay, and we can even say, well, client products, because maybe the clients are also separate from the company, right? And then that way you can have an ID here, an ID there, and here you would then have the client ID and company. And I'm doing it again. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have then our client ID, our ID in here, as well as then also the product ID. Okay, and we would then do the same with here our company ID. So here we would then have the company ID as well as then the product ID. And then of course we could have other data within these tables as well, such as the date. So here we could then add the date for when that product was purchased by that company. And then here in this table we may want to have an active status to say whether this product is active. Of course, having more space, which generally I would take a little more time and fill in the lines a little more and have it a little neater. But I think you get the idea, right? And that is of course the whole idea here. Now don't forget, we need to add here also the relationships here between these tables. So we have the company, so we have here the company table as well as the product table, and then we have the client table and again the product table. Okay, and just like that, we have some relationships, some idea of how these relationships apply, and then we can just go ahead and actually hard code that into our database, and then maybe give it that second and third thought or third and fourth thought, and with that you should end up with a perfect database. Now at the same time, once you've gone ahead and done this, do maybe think of which of these tables you would maybe want to add an index, okay? Because index will speed up those searches and of course add a little less strain to the database when you are creating your lists and so on, especially if you have a lot of data. And at the same time, also think about adding some views. Okay, so you may want to have a separate view here, which then combines here the products with the companies and the clients, as well as then, maybe their relationship, which then would essentially come up here. Now, with that, you can then, of course, combine all of these tables, providing you relevant data. And views is then the way to go. Okay, so splitting your data up may seem a little daunting, drastic, expansive, let's say, okay, because really that's what it is. It allows you to expand. It allows your database to expand. It allows you to work in the future, let's say, without spending a great deal of time rewriting your database, reorganizing your data, or being stuck with that nightmare, because at this point, guaranteed it will be a nightmare of a database. So I hope you have enjoyed this video and I hope it has helped someone. And if not, well, you can always let me know. So thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.